All right, it's 3 o'clock. Let's see, I think the music should be a good volume. It's about quarter way on my browser, so that's usually what I have it set at. And that should work. All right. So, let's see. Yeah, I think everything's good to go now. All right, I'm just gonna start going here. I decided that I wanted to do something a little bit different. I've been trying to do all of the TMNT brothers from Rise of the TMNT for the last 3 streams, and so the last one that I have to do is Raph. And this time around, I think I'm just gonna practice drawing him, as opposed to like doing some sort of full-on piece with rendering and everything like that. So I have a bunch of references set up and everything. Also, welcome anyone who is watching. This will be my 4th stream and my last, I guess I would call it. I've been calling in my mind these streams practice streams, because I've been doing them somewhat sporadically, pretty spaced out, and just trying to get used to doing this naturally and doing this on a regular basis. So I'm starting to feel more comfortable, and I will have a better schedule. I'll have a better schedule coming up pretty soon here. Yeah. But anyway, hi. Hello. Hi, guys. All right, so I have a bunch of reference images here that I'm basically just going to be copying. I think I want to start with this one. I actually found this one a while ago, and then I remembered it the other day. And I thought that would be a really good one to practice, especially for Raph, because he is so difficult for me to draw. Specifically the Rise version of Raph. He's just very, very difficult. But I love him so much. He has such a good design, and I want to get better at it. So I'm going to practice. I think we're just going to start with this one. I'll turn off all the other ones and move this one around so it's in a better position. Oops, didn't want to turn that one off. How is everybody doing today? Okay. Now, switch over to pencil. This is going to be a very, very laid back stream, I think. I still get so excited for these streams, and that probably won't change, but I'm trying not to make this, trying not to put too much pressure on myself. I was so worried. I was like, I don't have anything, like I don't have any ideas for how I could be drawing Raph. And then I was like, maybe we should just work on getting the basics down first. I'm well, thanks. How are you? How's your day been? My day's been good so far. I've been well. I got a lot of stuff done today. I got a lot of chores and cleaning done. A lot of cooking, a lot of meal prep. So that felt really good. I feel like I'm prepared for the next week. I think this will also be a good one to practice, this specific drawing, because there's so much foreshortening in it. Like the perspective is, you know, like there's a lot of depth with him punching the screen essentially. It looks so weird right now, but the goal here is to just practice. I shouldn't worry too much about how it's going to turn out. Yeah, my week did go well. Yeah, I was busy with work. I had more hours, and a lot of those extra hours were spent kind of outdoors, very exposed to the elements at the very least, and so it was pretty toasty for the first few days, but the Thursday and Friday were so much cooler. I also was doing the morning on Friday as opposed to the other first 3 days or first 4 days, so it was a whole lot nicer in terms of timing too. Like I had the rest of the day to just do stuff on Friday. My schedule got switched up last minute at work, so that was pretty nice. Hello. Hello. Welcome in. Yeah, I've heard that it's getting hot in a lot of places. It is summertime. I like the heat, but I really like it in the evening when it started to cool down. So maybe I don't like the heat. But I like summer evenings, I guess. And summer mornings, those are just really nice. It's so nice to be able to just step outside without having to wear any extra layers or anything like that. You can just step outside. It's like stepping into a room. Hi. Goodness, his proportions are all off right now. But that's what this is for. This is for practice. I can already tell this is not in the right position. Only get 2 weeks of spring and then it's crazy hot. Yeah, that's I know what that's like. That's how it is where I live. It's sorry, I don't know what I just did with this sketch. Okay. That's how it is where I live. We get 2 weeks of spring and it's lovely and it's wonderful and it's temperate, and then boom, summer hits and it's like, well, that was nice while it lasted. Yeah. Hi. I recognize you. I recognize your profile picture. It's the guy I'm drawing. All right, we already need to move things around a little bit. He's running out of room. This guy is larger than life, and we love him for it. I'm starting to notice that, like, sometimes this, like, the drawing of the turtles doesn't really adhere to its own rules even, because, like, it looks like his arm starts, like, over here, but that would be, like, the side of his shell. But for the sake of the pose, it really works. I don't know. I mean, it's good to know for my sake, because I'm always so worried about things looking anatomically correct as I'm drawing that sometimes it ends up looking even weirder. Yeah, foreshortening can be pretty difficult. There was one time I saw, I can't remember the name of the artist, but there was like a tutorial that I found on Pinterest a long time ago that really helped me with foreshortening and perspective studies. And basically his tip was like, kind of a brain shortcut hack thing is to be like, you start with a point, like whatever's biggest and at the front of the image, and then whatever's the smallest, and like kind of work your way back and do like these diminishing spirals, because that gives you like a sense of volume. going from larger to smaller, but like the spirals help maintain that volume consistently as it goes back in the picture. Yeah, their designs are pretty inconsistent throughout. Alright, his face already looks weird to me. But this is just in fact a initial sketch, so shells can be slightly flexible, so it may have to do with that. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, their shells tend to have their own properties in being able to be flexible and bending with the rest of their bodies, so that would make sense. That's probably what's happening back there. Yeah, for midground, yeah, foreground, midground, and background. I mean, I think it still kind of applies a little bit. It has to do with environment in general, and I think it has more to do with focus, like what's in focus versus, and what's darker versus like what's sharper in the image. So you have something in the foreground that's a lot darker, but it's also kind of blurry, but then you've got like the landscape behind it, which is more in focus, and it's a little sharper, and then you've got like things that are way in the background that are really faded, less in focus. So like it's just what a camera does, you know, like you can change what it focuses on. But it kind of, that principle kind of applies to foreshortening still, because essentially you're trying to create depth. That's the main principle. All right, I'm gonna have to use my imagination for what the rest of his hand looks like, unless I box this drawing in the same way that this drawing is in a frame. Duck! Hi! You finally made it! How's it going? Have you started on the magma yet? Yes, a wild duck. A wild duck has appeared. Oh, time off. That's so wonderful. I love having some good time off to just catch up with life things. Sometimes life just gets so busy. And sometimes the break doesn't even have to do with like... Sorry, I got distracted. Sometimes the break doesn't even have to do with like relaxing. I mean, it definitely has to do with relaxing, but maybe part of the relaxing is just like, oh man, I've been meaning to get to so many things. Duck, duck, goose, yeah. It's interesting, I can't see his shoulder spike here at all, and I don't know if that's like because his arm is twisted a specific way, so that it's like hidden behind his arm, because I feel like it should be right here, but then that would also cover this part of his pose and make it look less dynamic. So maybe it's just a stylistic choice, but either way. Okay. Oh, mask tails. Oh, his mask tails are so good in this one. They're so ribbony, and they're doing so many cool things here. I love drawing mask tails. I haven't actually done that in a while. I need to create more excuses for me to draw mask tails. I also feel incredibly rusty right now because I have basically not been drawing for a whole week. Even the drawing I posted yesterday, it was like I was mostly just finishing up with filters and everything. So I feel extremely rusty right now, but I am so ready to be back into this. I think I'm gonna zoom out and deal with his general shape because it's a little off. His leg is too weird over here. Frame everything, have his fist overlapping the frame. That make look good. No, I think that would make it look really cool. I don't think that would look weird. I really like it when like posters and stuff do that. When like something is supposed to be within a frame, but then it pops out of it and it just makes it so much more 3D. Like, whoa, it's in my face now. That also needs to be way bigger. No magma for me this weekend. Family in town. Oh, that's lovely. I've been so busy because now I'm running a store that's closing. Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that. That's such a bummer. That's got to be so annoying to get hired for something like that, only to have it close immediately. Oh boy. But it's nice that you've got family coming, and it is... There will always be magmas in the future. They are a whole lot of fun, but I know what it's like not being able to make it to every single one of them. I don't know how you make it to every one of... Well, not every one of them, but how you make it to so many of them. You're such a prolific artist, and it's amazing. His arm is supposed to be further down, I think. And bigger. Oh, I missed that message. Yes. Scrumptious masked tails, my beloved. I love them. Let's see. That's probably not accurate to the picture, but we're not going to worry about that right now because the problem is there is a fly in my room. Hello. When did you come in? Everything's closed off right now. Were you just hiding until now? Didn't get a summer job before uni this year. I need something to do. I know what that's like. Sometimes I'll be like, oh man, I need a break from work. I need one so bad. I need like a week off. And then I finally get a week off from work. And then like halfway through the week, I'm like, I need to go back to work. I'm so bored. Let's see, I think it's time to start another layer. Start honing things in. And mirroring. Can't forget to mirror. That's important. Oops, wrong layer. Our work only open till 6. Oh, nice. It's okay, I don't care about typos. I have them all the time. I'm a little obsessive about my own grammar and how everything is spelled when I'm typing, so it's better to, in my opinion, and this is because I'm really bad about this, but it is better to communicate your point at a pace that you're comfortable with rather than overanalyzing and policing your own writing, because that can get stressful. Yeah, I was a little nervous too when I first started on Magma. It's like, oh, people are going to be watching me. And sometimes they can. I mean, they will sometimes. But that's part of the fun. And you start to realize that most people are just working on their own projects and they'll only pop in to visit once in a while. And even when they do, they're not always going to say something. They'll just watch you, and you can't really tell if they're watching you or not. So, which kind of sounds like stressful in and of itself. Like, well, if I don't know if they're watching or not, I have to assume that they're always watching, and that makes me even more nervous. But no, it's usually people are working on their own projects. They'll come to say something about your piece every once in a while. And for the most part, it's just you're just drawing your own thing and having a good time. It's really fun. $40-hour job. 40-hour-a-week job. Oh, that's fun. Preschool. That sounds lovely. I hope that goes well for you. Always watching. Oh, like on the magmas? Or just in general? Does your spirit like just float around and watch me whenever I draw? No, but on the magmas, I don't know. It's really fun to see people's drawing processes sometimes. My goodness, his face is turning out so weird. We're ignoring that. We're not worrying about it right now. This is practice. That's why I'm doing this today, as opposed to, I think I explained at the beginning, but just like, as opposed to like a whole, you know, big finished drawing with like rendering and everything. I just want to get better at Raph because I don't draw him enough. And I look through like all the things I've ever drawn of any of the turtles and I'm like, there is not enough Raph here. So I'm also just trying to get more comfortable drawing him. Anyone doing art fight this year? I'm still on the fence about that. I don't think that I will. It's such a fun idea, but I think that I would probably just feel... I know that there is zero pressure to be drawing other people's OCs and everything like that. And I enjoy drawing other people's OCs. It's just... I think I've mentioned this before in another stream. I just like drawing on my own time. I love the concept though. Art fight is such a cool concept. It's really, really neat how it's just based on like encouraging other artists, encouraging your mutuals. It's just a general rule of thumb that there's no such thing as enough Raph. We could always be drawing more Raph. This is true. There's not enough of the boy in the world. Starts as chicken scratch and remains that way until I can barely pull it together in the rendering stage. Well, whatever works for you. I mean, mine is starting out as chicken scratch right now. Although I don't think I'm going to be bringing it into rendering stage. That's what it feels like sometimes when I'm drawing too. You have tapped into a general feeling I've had about art for a very long time. It's just like, I don't even know how I get to the result that I do. It just kind of happens. feet are at a slightly strange angle, but... And it's cut off. Like right there. I can't see any more of his foot. We're gonna have to make some assumptions here about how his foot works. And yeah, this part, his upper arm where it cuts off, that'll be easy. That's just another curve. His fist is also gonna be kind of hard. We'll live. This is not the end of the world. His head is way too big. I can mirror again. Oh, you're joining Art Fight. That'll be really fun. How many, do you have like a lineup of OCs already? And also, how did you originally get interested in Ninja Turtles? It was definitely through Rise. Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was the first one that I got really interested in, and that's still primarily the one that I truly love. I got interested in it because, actually, okay. Originally, I used to see like fan art of Rise and be like, oh, didn't that show get like really bad ratings on IMDb? I don't really want to watch that. That sounds like a bad show. So I didn't watch it for that reason. And then eventually one day something popped up on my feed. It was like some sort of compilation of TMNT clips, and I watched it and I was like, wait a second. This is actually like really funny. And I think I love this show, or at least I might like it. So I started watching it, started watching the episodes, and then I got to the movie. I started watching the episodes and I was like, man, this show is so funny. And it's really well animated, and all the stuff with like the episodes leading up to the Shredder and everything like that, it just got more and more intense. And I was like, man, there is way more here than I thought there was. And then I got to the movie, and now the movie is 50% of the reason why I absolutely love Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's just, it blew me away. It was so good. It is up there with my top favorite movies now. It is probably my second favorite movie besides How to Train Your Dragon. Nothing can ever replace How to Train Your Dragon. That has been my favorite since it came out, since I first watched it in theaters. But man, Rise is very, very close. Two to start out with. Starting with Claudio and one of my Sonas. Aw, yeah, Claudio. I love your design for Claudio. He's so cute. I want to know more about him. I'd love to see what your other, I'd love to see your Sona as well. How to Train Your Dragon is peak. Top movie aside from Rise for me is Batman versus TMNT. I just got that movie. I will be watching it soon, but I went on, when my sister was graduating and we were traveling to go to her graduation, we went to this shop that had like all sorts of just really nerdy, it was kind of like a thrift / antique shop, but it was all just nerdy things. So there was a ton of TMNT stuff there actually, but absolutely nothing Rise. Anyway, that's besides the point. I found Batman versus the TMNT, and I was like, I should get this because I've heard a lot of good things about it, and I just started recently getting a little bit more into Batman, so I'm like, now I'm curious. So I have it now on DVD, and I will be watching it eventually when I get the time. I have to make time for so many things that I want to do. Watching movies, watching shows, playing video games, because a lot of other life things pop up too. I will definitely let you know what I think of that movie. I'm very excited to watch that. I have heard so many good things about it. Okay, I think I'm starting to get his shapes a little bit better here. He is very intense right now. He's got quite the stare, which is really bothering me because his eyes still look weird. I always have the biggest problem with the eyes, even when I'm copying directly from reference. Why are the eyes always so hard? It's because so much is communicated through the eyes, so it's really, you really have to get them right. Let's see, it's just the angle. Giving me that bombastic side A. And I love his eyebrows. Well, I mean, he doesn't have actual eyebrows, but he's got that chasm. And it makes for really good expressions on him. Raph has some of the best expressions in the show. He's genuinely one of the funniest characters. They're all hilarious, but some of the things, the sounds that he makes, like there's this one laugh that he does. I think it's at the Ninja Art of Hide and Seek. I can't remember the name of the episode exactly, but it's the one where they're basically just trying to get Gus's dog tag from Big Mama's Nexus Hotel, and he does this little laugh when he's trying to hide himself with a leaf, and it's so funny. And also the expression he makes in that scene. Yes, Raph chasm. It got deeper and deeper with each brother. Well, I guess he had all his brothers all at the same time. They were all present to begin with, but every brother counts for a degree of more chasm, if that makes any sense. So many Raph sound bites. Like, what's it called? The Mystic Library or Hidden Library? I can't remember what it's called, but you know, it's the one where they go to the library. He's like, he's frustrated at Donnie. He's like, no, the brain is Nature's greatest notepad. It's just like, again, his face is also really funny in that scene. It just eats his phone. Yeah, that was also in the library, right? It's like, hang tight, little buddy. I didn't think they knew what a week was. Yes. Does he think we don't know what a week is? They all have such great clips. Alright, I'm actually going to take off my earrings because they keep hitting my earbud wires and that's distracting. Also, sorry if you hear the, there's like yard work going on outside my house, so I hope the mic doesn't pick that up and it's not annoying, but hopefully it's faint enough that it's not distracting. Yes, him referring to himself as Raph is just so endearing. I love that about him. Only Raph can talk about himself in the third person. Yep. Baron Draxum doesn't get to do that. Maybe it's not yard work. Maybe they're sawing something. Whatever it is, it's very buzzy. Okay. What am I missing? Most of his fist, but again, that's not really showing up majorly in this reference picture. Actually, I have a poster that I'm looking right at that could really help me with this. I just need to... follow that as a guide. I think he would have, his thumb would stick out just a little bit down here. They not know an artist is at work. Oh, it's... people are allowed to do any sort of yard work that they need to do or construction. It can be loud, but this is the perfect weather to do that. I know, right? Though it's like, how dare you? I can't expect much if I didn't communicate to them like, hey, I'm doing a stream. No, they don't know that we're drawing turtles. It's okay, they're probably building something important. And they stopped now, I don't hear it. Watch me say it stopped and then they start up again. That's true. It does provide good summer vibes. Like when you hear a lawnmower going outside, it's like, that is the sound of a spring/summer. Or a weed eater. Weed eater. And speaking of summer vibes, I'm thinking, oh, I should watch Phineas and Ferb again because that is such a good summer show and I haven't watched it in forever. Kind of miss it. I used to watch that one a lot with all of my siblings, actually. And that would tell you how long ago it was because we all still lived together at one point. Tiny airplane flying around the microphone. Yep. There's a tiny airplane in my room. There kind of is. There's a fly. There's a fly buzzing around. He's not hurting anything, but like... Yep, I've got a colony of like Lilliputians. Is that how you say it? The Gulliver's Travel Little People or whatever. I've got a colony of those. Ooh, I would like to know that as well. Is anyone else drawing while they're watching? And if so, if you are comfortable with sharing, let me know what you're drawing. Oh, that's a bummer. That must be annoying to have a pen die on you. It's like, that's the one thing I need to draw. Got a really nice zigzag going on here with this mask tails. I love it. Let's see. This needs to be a little further out. Art fight profile, nice. Doing a comic for some OCs and pondering drawing Raph. Yes, he does take a bit of pondering to draw. But that's cool. Trying to, but it's not going well. Just because I have a deadline in a few days. Ooh. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Deadlines are no fun. I'm not a big fan of deadlines. Sometimes they are necessary, but they're stressful. Yes, it is Raph. It's my boy, Raph. I love him. I am practicing because I need to get better at drawing him. Because I always say, like, oh, he's my favorite. And he is. He is such a sweetie, but I don't draw him nearly enough. Deadlines are now illegal. Yeah, we'll make that a thing. His face is still in the wrong position. This is a sketch, so I'm allowed to use liquify. Actually, you're allowed to use liquify at any point in your drawing process. Who cares? You could do what you want. Donnie, sparkle, sparkle. Yes, he deserves the sparkles. I like how you draw Donnie. Keep telling myself I'm not dead until I hit the line. That's great. gonna take a teeny tiny break here to take a drink of water. Okay. Just took a little sip of water. Everybody drink your water if you haven't for a while. It's good for you. I promise. Okay, actually, I'm also going to take a minute to lower my desk because I have been on my feet all morning and I'm ready to just take a seat now. So hold on, turn off my mic because it gets a little loud and noisy when I'm readjusting everything. So. All right, there we go. All right, I think it's time for the next layer. I have to do multiple sketches sometimes to get things right, to get things to the right shape. Ooh, we should do mirror again, just in case. Oh, I'm on eraser. Actually, you know what? I think I should transfer over to pen now. I very rarely ever do pen because I'm a coward and I like to stick with my scribbly pencil, which I can just refine into oblivion if I want to in order to get it to the right shape. But I think we're just gonna choose a pen, turn it down, and turn up the stabilization. That's too much stabilization. Yeah, I often make his shell too flat. Like there's not enough depth and volume because I'm focused so much on the spikes that I forget that there's like an actual shape underneath those spikes. My goodness. Okay, now the fly is starting to bother me. He's keeping to himself mostly, so he'll be fine for now. But he's on thin ice. One of these days, I am going to try to challenge myself to do an entire picture without Control-Z. You watch, it'll be a thing, but it's so difficult to not default to that. I'm gonna make even the smallest mistake, or perceived mistake, because, you know, Bob Ross's whole thing where it's like, happy accidents. You can make any quote-unquote mistake into an actual piece of the artwork, but I don't know, I'm just overcorrecting all the time. Right now, though, I am trying to emulate the show's style in terms of line style and line weight. It's kind of difficult with this pen. I don't know if I like it. Yes, Bob Ross mentioned he is the artist of all time. I still draw trees using his methods sometimes. Something specific I want to draw about him, but I want to wait and keep it as reward for when I finish my illustration work. Yep, I've done that before. I've done that where I'm like, okay, I have this idea that I really want to draw, but first I have to draw this one first because I started it and I was really excited about it, and so I'm talking to myself at this point, but you're gonna finish what you started, and then you can draw the big new idea you have. That's how my brain works. Is that his thumb? That might be his thumb, actually. That's inside his palm. But like, I can't remember, and maybe I should have listened better, but when one of my brothers was teaching me how to actually throw a punch, you're not supposed to have your thumb inside your fingers, if I remember correctly. Maybe you are. I thought you were supposed to have your thumb on the outside of your fingers. We're going to say that it's on the outside, because that's just going to be easier to draw. Still finding my style. I'm so jealous of people who know how they like to draw. Well, I mean, technically speaking, you don't really ever have a style. Your style is kind of an amalgamation of every style that you like and you want to copy, and it develops on its own. And I know you've probably heard that a million times, like, oh, you'll find your style eventually, it'll develop on your own. But literally, it's like handwriting. Whatever the way is you draw, that is your style. Even if it's not consistent within itself, you will have a distinct signature within your work, if that makes sense. It's not going to... Nobody else is going to... Like, other people might be able to try to copy certain ways you do your style, but it will always be your own. You can't really replicate handwriting. And I feel that's the same for art. You can't really replicate art one for one. You will develop something that I think sometimes it just feels like your style is not your own, or it doesn't feel concrete. But honestly, like, I know that the way I draw is probably recognizable to a lot of people, but I'll look at my own art and I'm just like, this is not consistent with what I usually draw. And I feel like I have no consistency. Sometimes I'm like, I don't have a style. But I think it's more recognizable to other people than to yourself. Just whatever you draw, as long as you are trying to communicate something with, or not communicate something with your picture, but you're trying to, whatever you are drawing turns out how you want it to. It doesn't really matter about having a specific style. Just draw what you want to see. Draw what you like. And if you want more techniques or more features that you like to see in other people's styles, like, figure out what you like about their styles and practice drawing in their styles as closely as you can. Because again, your art is kind of just like it's a combination of all the other art that you enjoy and that you want to emulate. I feel like I draw in a different style every day. Yep. Same, honestly. You don't put it inside or you might break it. Oh yeah, the thumb. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Parents taught me how to throw a punch. Good technique to know. All I know about my style is that I draw scritchy scratchies and snouts and I go from there. Well, that's part of your style. I think there's so much emphasis placed on how you categorize your style, and if you can define it to someone else, that you get carried away with, like, oh, it's not distinct enough. It's like, that doesn't matter. What matters is if you like what you draw, like if you like how it turns out. It doesn't have to look like anything other than what you like. Come on, this line, oh, this line. Is it not working? Maybe I need a different angle. That might help. That's slightly better. Okay. This is what I'm talking about with limiting my Control-Z. I need to go on a Control-Z detox. Sometimes it's ridiculous. Yep, it's raft time. Hi there. Exactly. Yep, it shows your versatility. Draw what you like. Wait a minute. I think I messed up where the placement of all his shell pieces are. I did. I confused pieces of the sketch for parts of where his masked hills were. It'd be funny if you just pulled the Z key. I mean, see, the problem is I have Control-Z mapped to a button on my tablet, so I would have to disable that as well. I might do that, actually. If I ever do a no Control-Z challenge someday, I just go into my tablet's software, like the settings on the computer, and just delete the mapping. Be like, now I have no choice. I can still reach up like 2 inches to my keyboard and still hit the Control-Z, but at least it'd be less natural to do so. Or it would feel less natural. Took your advice about streaming tips. Pray for 3 signs. And they all said, not right now. Streaming for me. Yeah, that happens sometimes. Sometimes God says no. Because it's just... It might not be a good point in your life. Maybe you don't have the time, or you don't have the resources, or you just mentally can't take it. And I'm not saying any of those definitively for you specifically, but they're all good reasons, and nobody's saying that you have to. If it's something you really, really want to try, it's going to have to be something that you dedicate and put a lot of time into. So maybe right now it's wisest for you not to, until it's something you know will really work out for you. I think it's a lot of fun, and I definitely recommend it to anybody who wants to try it out. But there's a whole lot more to it, at least for me, the way I've been doing it. There's a whole lot more to it than just hitting a button and saying, hey guys, welcome to the stream. There's a lot of stuff I have to set up beforehand. But you get used to it over time. It does take practice. All right. Bye, Sarah. The fly's back. I think he just enjoys my company. Let's see, this is supposed to start here. Whoop, there we go. Okay, what am I looking at here? I need to see what is going on with his shell back here. Because that looks like a spike, but it kind of ends behind the mask tails, I think. I think that's what's going on there. I know I'm copying directly from reference, so it shouldn't really matter to me like what's going on in the picture. I should just be copying, you know, line for line. But for some reason, I have this need to know what is going on. I do like the way his shell spikes are arranged. They're really fun to look at. The way they kind of curve and then swoop towards the bottom. He's got such a fun design. I loved the choice that they made to make him a giant and an alligator snapping turtle. He's so cool. Oop. No, not strength. Ah! I'm messing around with my margins now. Hold on. Now I gotta look at the stream. What did I do? Okay, there's the bar. Alright, now it's at the edge. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to make this bigger. There. Gentle giant Raffi, yes. I find a lot of art growth comes from understanding the references well, though. If the reference doesn't make sense, you creating your own logic and diverting from the original. You learn a lot. That's true. Yeah, I mean, sometimes the reference is only that it's what you're drawing from, but you're still trying to develop an understanding of why it works the way it does. Mirror time. Some drawings I do a lot more mirroring than others. Okay, I'm just gonna do that, do the through line. I need to do the through line a lot more. Like, the one thing that I learned about line art, and I don't do line art very often. I mean, I do, but it's not like single lines and stuff. Like I was saying before, I tend to get very sketchy with my lines. Something I need to practice is just drawing lines so that there's a ton of tangents and crossing points like this, because that means that I have freedom of just making the line, and then I can go back and erase where it crosses later. So obviously that's very messy, but I got good lines, and so now I just erase these little parts that stick out. And yeah, it's good. Forgot this. I need to look at the reference again. How does his knee work? That is a detail I should not be worrying about. That's so minor. Right? It really works well. I used to angst over how well I would have to get a line to match up with another line. So like, for example, I would be like, the line has to end there. And now I have to start the next line at the exact same point, or else it's not a good line. Sometimes my lines do match up perfectly. Well, not perfectly, but you know, they match up at the tips, like where they're supposed to at the end of the other line. But that is not always the case, and that's not what I should be working towards. His foot looks weird. Oh, it's because he doesn't have the wraps. Yeah. You just gotta go for it with lines. Can't be too precious with your lines. Sometimes they'll be a little wobbly, and that's okay. It just makes it look more human. I'm starting to realize his arm is not wide enough. Does not cover enough of his torso. And it is not thick enough. Bro's got muscles for days. Can't take that away from him. He worked hard for them. Let's see. Maybe his fist is too small too. That might be a problem. Any good animated movies or shows recently? That's a good question. I'm trying to think of one. Because I feel like I have. This one was a while ago, but I watched Zootopia 2 and I actually really enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised, especially with everything that Disney's been putting out in recent years. It was pretty good. It was actually, I would actually say that Zootopia 2, I really liked Zootopia 1, but Zootopia 2 actually, I think, turned out better than the first one, maybe? I have to watch it again. I literally only watched it once, and I've seen Zootopia multiple times. But I remember I really liked the second one. terms of like media overall, if we're talking like not just animated, but just like in general, I finally watched Project Hail Mary, and oh man, that was a good one. That was so good. The book was also amazing, but I had to watch the movie twice. It was that good. Hoppers. I have heard about that one. I should probably watch that one because I've heard that one was actually really good as well. And yeah, I remember seeing that the premise was kind of strange, but like I like movies and cartoons and stuff that are not afraid to do weird things if it makes for a good story. I've heard of that anime. So multiple people have recommended it to me, and I think the first 2 episodes are free on YouTube, so I really have no excuse. But I haven't sat down to watch it yet. I keep meaning to. Second half kind of grasp at straws. Oh, Hoppers. Yeah, I'm okay with movies and pieces of media like not quite sticking the landing as long as like, they actually cared about the project and really tried with them. Oh yeah, I've seen clips from Sonic Prime. I think that would be a fun one to watch. I think it's on Netflix though, and I don't have Netflix right now. I can only have so many streaming services at one time before it becomes expensive. But it's one of those things where like if I have enough that I want to watch on one, then I'll get it for a time. So I might watch that one someday. I've heard a lot of good things about it. Yeah, I've heard you talking about it too, Duck, and again, I really want to watch it. I just keep forgetting to. But if it's giving you that much inspiration, I should definitely check it out. I think I did watch the first episode. I don't remember it very well, but I remember the premise was really interesting. I also remember it was one of those ones where something like really devastating happens. Like it goes from one scene where everything is all happy and everything, and all of a sudden it's like gut punch, and I'm like, oh. So, but I like that, so. I like it when I'm surprised by a show. Thank you. I'm glad you think so. I'm just trying to copy it as closely as possible because I want to practice the show style more. You know, not just in terms of like the shapes, but also the lines and the poses and everything. His eyes still look weird to me. But I also want to practice Raph more. That's the other thing. Okay, yeah, that's the other thing. I'd have to get Crunchyroll for a while. I know I can watch at least, I think, the first 2 episodes, like I was saying, on YouTube, but I don't have Crunchyroll right now, and I'd have to have enough to watch on Crunchyroll to justify me actually getting a subscription for a time at least. Oh yeah, sometimes the mangas are just better. Let's see. Work on his masked hills. This is kind of a pixely reference image. Hold on. I thought I had something that was a little clearer. Where was it? Nope, that's not it. Oh, these 4. You, and you. Because there are 4 of them for each of the brothers. That's Mikey, that's Leo. There's Raph. Oh, okay, no, it's just that compressed of an image. Okay. Well, we'll make do. I can see it clearly enough. It'll work out. I just like it when things are a little bit sharper. All right, you have a great day and a good rest of your weekend as well. Thank you for coming. Have a good rest of your day. Okay, I know that this is not entirely how his mask tail works in the reference, but we're making it just a little bit extra because I said so. Some lines going through here, don't want that. I think that my pose is just a little bit less wide. His stance is a little wider in the reference picture, and this he is like angled a little bit more towards the camera in my version. But I think it'll be okay because overall I'm getting the main shapes, and that's really what I want. His face still looks weird. Not worrying about that right now though. Oh yeah, he needs his shorts. There we go. He has a little bit of shading on the other leg as well. And his leg is tilted a little bit more downward on this side. Yeah, that's right. All right, turning off my mic again just for a second to take another water break. Ready, drink your water. All right. So the shades go all the way down. They don't necessarily conform to the shape of the lower edge of his plastron. That's interesting. The shades just keep going. Huh. Alright, and I know that this one doesn't necessarily have this, but I like it when they do this. This little extra bit of shade here. Yeah. This is me getting way too detail oriented again. I think we're going to try his face one more time. Or actually, you know what? The general shape is okay. It's just the position that's wrong. Over, just a little bit smaller. Okay, I think that works a little bit better. Maybe that's too far over now. Okay, let's try one more time, but not too much angled that way. There we go. That is lettering, and I want my liquify tool. I'm not writing anything on this drawing. Oh, I need to do his second mask tail. All right, enjoy your time with your family, and I'm so glad you could finally make it to one of these. I hope you enjoyed, and I think we'll have a great time for the rest of the stream. See you later. Thank you. I'm having such a hard time with his face, but I'm glad you think it looks good. See, okay. When I'm doing the mask tails, I can't be looking at the reference and doing them at the same time because there's so much of a flow when you're drawing the mask tails. You just kind of have to follow the guide on the sketch that you did. That's way better. Yeah, that's right. Not supposed to be like that. He might end up being the only one that I do today. Unless I decide not to color him. He's not quite done with the line art, but once I'm done with the line art, I'm debating whether I should color him in and do all of this kind of cell shading on him. That would be good to practice cell shading as well. Or if I should move on to another one of my references that I have copied over. You know what? The ankle of his arm is really bothering me, so... Hold on. Just a second. Alright, you guys, I will be right back. I need to step away for just a couple minutes, but I will be right back. All right, I'm back. I'm going to adjust his arm just a little bit. Could be angled up just a little bit more. His leg could go this way just a little more too. I love the liquify tool. The only problem with it is that you do lose the definition of the lines a little bit when you use it. Okay. Work a little bit more on the details. What's bothering me about his eyes right here is this one is too wide. That is already so much better, just that little change. Oh, I need to erase these. Oh, the line weight. That's what I need to work on. Let's see. Line weight is another one of those things that I've just learned really helps a drawing, specifically when you're doing drawing. Well, actually, it kind of applies to other types of drawings too, but adding more like thickness or emphasis to lines that are on lower parts of the picture, or on parts where there should be more shadow, regardless of whether you're going to be adding shadow on a different layer or not. Like just adding a little bit of weight and thickness to the lines, like on the underside of his arm, or like on the underside of his fist here. Yeah. And going back to that whole foreground, foreshortening, foreground, background principle, like also when things are close to the camera. So like you notice his lines are a lot thinner here on his leg because it's further away from the camera, but like you got bolder, thicker lines as it's closer to the camera. And you've also got darker lines where a separation is supposed to be indicated. So you've got like thicker lines where his arm overlaps his body, or his bicep overlaps his face here. So it just makes for good distinction and depth within the picture. Maybe I will color this in and shade this. It shouldn't be that difficult, especially when I'm using a brush or a pencil, pen. That's the word I was looking for. When I'm using a pen that has smoother lines, it's easier to like bucket fill what you're doing. So coloring should be fairly easy. This is a slightly textured pen, but it's not quite as textured as this thing. This does not combine very well with bucket fill. Lines thicker along the edge of his plastron where it meets with the bridge. That's also somewhat of a separation. Do his legs a little bit. Though the lines I've noticed in the reference down there are just not very thick at all. I need to maybe push this side of his face in a little bit. His head is still slightly big. think I'm starting to realize there might be a little bit. No, that's fine. Okay. Thought there was a delay. His arm is also, like, closer to his face, I'm realizing. Well, not doing anything about that now. I am moving on. The point of this is to learn, and I have learned. We're gonna keep going. Oh, he needs shadows. Okay, yeah, he needs shadows under his mask and face and stuff. Yeah. It's kind of weird how that one works. I'm gonna go by the shape of his jaw. I remember studying in the Arise art book how all of their faces or their heads kind of join with their necks. And they were talking about how, like, Raph's head kind of fits more seamlessly onto his neck in terms of his design. And that makes a lot of sense. It just, I'm not seeing it here. It is the perspective too, though, probably. The fact that we're looking at it like top down somewhat, not top down, an angle downwards. Just a little off everywhere, but I think we got the gist of it. I keep mistaking this part of Donnie's spider shell arm for another spike on his shell. I feel like his shell is also a little bit longer the way I drew it. Actually, yeah, a lot is really long on him. Hold on. Just everything up just a little bit. Just squinch it up just a little bit. There we go. And maybe make his head a little bit wider. Not bigger. Just proportionally, it should be a little wider at the top. All right, I think we're gonna do colors now, because I kind of just want to do colors. Yeah, okay, new layer. And we're gonna pick colors, pick displayed color directly from the reference. Let's see how well bucket fill works. Nope. That may not be as easy as I thought it was gonna be. Now I'm trying to find the gap. Area scaling, maybe that's my problem. No. Tolerance, 0. No. Oh. I need to refer the other layers. Okay, so that means I also have to turn off the sketch. Okay, that's better. It's so weird how lighting will change an image. Like his shell is usually supposed to be like a dark forest green, but because the lighting is kind of reddish orange, it turns it completely red. So that's what it looks like. It's so weird. Hold on, I gotta check something. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, I'm finding so bucket fill is gonna work for a little bit here, but this part I should just go back to, oh, I should turn the stabilization down on this too. It's gonna be annoying if it is too slow. Also the size. His mask is definitely not that color in the reference picture. Displayed color. Oops, wrong color. That's so weird. I dropped from the reference to get whatever color his skin is, which obviously it's kind of supposed to be green, but when I eyedrop it, it turns out orange. That's so weird. That's really cool the way color works like that. I want to collect manga, but it's not the cheapest hobby. It really isn't, unfortunately, because there's so many volumes. So if you want to have a complete set, you got to get all of them. Pen. should really be mapping more hotkeys. To make switching over easier, but worry about that later. Wrong pen. Oh yeah, I love this song. This is one of my favorite of Louis Zong's songs. The Flying Fish Funk. I like how he does, I like really funky bass. And he does a lot of that in his music. And it's just really chill to listen to. Okay, yeah. When the eye is colored in, now it looks weird again. Hold on. Let's turn off the color and fix whatever's going on with his eye over here. I'm going to... Come on. I'm going to adjust the eye with the liquify tool, but then I'm going to completely redraw it anyway. I just need to get it in the right position to know what I'm doing. Get it in the right position, and then I'll redraw it, because now... After using Liquify, the lines are all blurry, because that's what Liquify does. So let's see. Go back to my pen. Nope, that is the wrong color. Okay, that's sharpened it a little bit. I don't want to give him too much lining, or else he looks like he has eyeliner on, and that's just not his look. Not for this picture anyway. Okay, that's better. Now the coloring's gonna be off, but that's an easy fix. We can just... When you're adjusting the coloring with Liquify, I'm on the wrong layer. When you're adjusting the coloring with Liquify, it's slightly easier, because like you don't have to worry about the edges blurring or whatever, because they're going to be hidden behind the lines anyway. Okay. just so weird how the colors work on this. I'm so tempted to just skip over to the cell shading already just because I want to see, because I think the cell shading gives the suggestion of a slightly different palette as well. Yeah, no. We'll focus on this for now. Just gotta find the places where this has gaps. Fill it in. Bucket tool can be a little finicky sometimes. It's not always the best to use because it sometimes doesn't match up with the lines quite right. You get little gaps here and there. But yeah, it's pretty useful, especially when you're doing line art. I think there are some adjustments I could be making so that it actually is accurate, but this is just for practice. Oh, that's such a weird color. No! I left a gap there and everything filled in. There we go. Is this color any different? Not really. That is just, that's so cool how that works. Okay, red again for his elbows. Everything on this guy is red. You know what? I am actually curious now what they did for the shading, cell shading. It looks like it's some sort of kind of bluish tint. Let's see. New layer, multiply. Because I don't want to like have to eyedrop every single color or area where there's shading, because it's a different, slightly different shade on every part where it overlays the colors. So I gotta try and figure out what the original color actually was. It might be that. I do need to adjust the opacity a little bit. Let's see. How dark is it? That's about as dark as it's supposed to be. Okay, now it's time for stabilization to go back up. I just do this all manually. Thank you. That's very sweet of you. It did not come naturally. Took a long time to get where I am today, and I'm definitely still not where I want to be, but I'm gonna sound really cheesy for a second. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. At least when it comes to art. As long as I enjoy drawing, I will keep doing it. And hopefully get better in the process. That's the only reason I am where I am today, is because I enjoy drawing what I draw. And I try not to worry about what skill level I'm at. Just as long as I'm working towards getting better, I think it's good. Gen Z Bob Ross. That's quite high praise. I don't know if I'm quite in the same category as him. Also, I'm not quite sure if I'm Gen Z or millennial. I think I'm like right on the edge of both of them. But if you mean just in general for this generation, for Generation Z, not dependent on how old I am or not, yeah, that makes sense too. But thank you, that is very, very sweet. So I guess I just gotta follow the lines here. The shading on this one. Why does it look so different? Maybe I need to turn, okay, opacity might need to go down a little bit. That might be why it's bothering me. Or maybe it's just his face shape again. There's a little bit of shading on the underside as well. It's kind of strange that none of the shadow goes over his eye. Like, it's going on the underside of his brow ridges, but it doesn't go over the whites of his eyes at all. That's kind of weird. Alright, let's go back to coloring for a second. I think I've said before that like part of the reason I do or I wanted to try these streams is so that I'm like sitting down and drawing for a solid amount of time and not getting distracted, and then I end up getting distracted within my own drawings. I'm like, okay, let's try shading now. Oh wait, I actually want to go back to coloring. Let's go back to shading. Ooh, I could fix the line art a little bit. I mean, your art process can be whatever you want it to be. As long as I'm still drawing, I'm pretty happy. Oh wait, no, that's supposed to... Ah! That's supposed to be red. Isn't it? I guess not. I guess the shade goes past his shorts on that side of his legs. Yeah, okay. He's the boss. That's what he's always saying. He's doing it like a boss. Interesting. I think it might be because of the lighting with all the electrical stuff going on here, but the line art also seems slightly tinted towards the bottom. Like kind of reddish. Just a little. Thank you. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this, how this is turning out overall. The shapes, I think some of the shapes are bothering me a little bit, but I mean, again, I've said this multiple times at this point. The point for this is just to learn. I'm practicing. And I'll just keep getting better each time I practice, so. And I'm having a lot of fun with this. That's the other point. I'm glad you think it looks good, though. All right, back to shading. This is weird. This might be my first. This is if I get done with this, this is gonna be like my first completed picture. Like I'm not gonna be doing any of this background or foreground stuff. But sorry, I lost my train of thought there. I was thinking about how he's turning out. If I get this done by the end of this stream, this will be like the first drawing that I've actually completed during a stream. Like I'm not working on it outside of the stream, because even the first one, the Leo I finished up outside of the stream. The Mikey, the Donnie, like I said, did the Donnie second, and then I did the Mikey. The Mikey, as if he's a collectible. I like how he's an evening type of tint / hue. Yeah, I like that too. I like how everything's slightly tinted. All right, thank you for coming. I'm so glad you could make it, and I'm glad that this was nice to have on the background for you. So, yeah, thank you for coming. Have a good rest of your day / evening. That was loud. You know what? Instead of erasing outside of lines for it to meld seamlessly, I shouldn't be trying to erase the overlap. I should have it on a clipping layer, and then it disappears automatically. So long as his color layer doesn't have a background. I was like, what is this song for a second? And then I was like, oh yeah, this one actually, I'm pretty sure this is one of those ones where it just starts out kind of weird, but sounds really good eventually. It's very cute sounding. Okay, so basically everything past this point is shaded. Okay, I think I got it. Sometimes you just gotta study the reference for a hot second before you just move on and don't look at it while you're trying to copy it. Or else you just kind of get stuck going back and forth forever. Yeah, I'm changing this again. I think his eye is just too close to the other eye. Also, as the further to the side I move his eye, the more I'm going to have to readjust his pupil. There we go. Oh, that's way more focused. And now we need to readjust the color again. Oh, wrong layer. I always do that when switching between layers. You know what I haven't done in a while is mirrored him. Maybe that will help me with his face. Well, his eyebrow looks weird now. That is so much better. Okay, and now the shading is going to be off slightly. Actually, it's not that bad. Just needs to be moved over a little bit. Ah, the wrong layer. Nice. Nice. All right. Yeah, we'll keep it flipped. Okay. I think I just heard my sister get home. Forgot she had an early day today. And there's something I should really try practicing with line art and cell shading more. It's actually kind of relaxing and therapeutic. I just really like having like really like the soft edges and the hard edge shading, because cell shading is just all hard edges, but there's something about it also that's just kind of like you don't have to worry too much. Yeah, I should definitely try it more. I think there needs to be a little bit more shading, or not shading, but a thicker line on between his fingers, just to give the impression of more division between the two. There we go. Yeah, that looks way better. Okay, I already got that area. There's even a little bit on his arm up here. That's interesting. And everywhere I look, there's just like more little bits of shading hidden. Okay, so there's like some here right underneath his arm. I just realized I didn't color in his emblem, like, at all. There we go. Now I've got the color for it. I think that might be the one color that's actually slightly accurate to what his colors actually are. Like, this is pretty, this color right here is pretty darn close to what his emblem's color is supposed to be without the tinting. Huh, that's weird that the light didn't affect it at all. Okay, so lower edge. Okay. What am I missing? Oh. His foot and his leg. Gotta get the shading there. And it's so interesting how they do the cell shading. I mean, especially from this picture, considering this picture, because like you've got a lot of light coming from all different directions, mostly in the front of him, but you kind of have to give the suggestion of shadows from behind or at his back. And they're also all different directions. Well, I guess that makes sense because the lighting is all around. Huh. Oh, even his little spikes are shaded. This cute. Just adorable. I think that's it. I think I got everything. Everything's all shaded and colored and everything. think that was it. Okay. So I'm going to call this one, I'm going to call this drawing done. And then I'm going to maybe, I've got like, what, half an hour left? Let's work on just trying to get some general shapes really quick here. I really like this one. No, wrong layer. You're coming with me. Right there. Look at him. He's so cute. I love it when you see the side profile of the turtles' faces and they've got like a... You can actually see the beak is kind of pronounced just a little bit, like the actual shape. The turtle shape. But yeah, I think this is a good thing to practice. Let's see. We will turn his sketch layer back on. Can't really see it behind him anyway. Okay. I think one of the things I have the biggest problems with Raph is his face. So I should definitely practice getting his face just right. Especially, this face especially is a really good one to practice because it's kind of a make it or break it face in terms of like, if I don't, it's not highly specific or it's like one wrong move and you'll mess it up, but it does seem, he just feels like one of the characters that's harder to draw without him becoming uncanny. So this is a good one. This is a good expression specifically to practice on because he's so cute. His head is always a lot taller than I remember too. I think I'm going to be using the mirror a lot more for this. This is what I was talking about earlier about how like his head kind of melds into his neck a little bit. So like you can actually see where his neck goes into his head. Whereas some of the turtles, sometimes you draw them and it just kind of like sits on top of the neck. And I think that's the case with like specifically Leo and Mikey. But Raph has a much thicker neck, so... I should practice drawing Draxum too. I don't think that I have ever drawn him. He's got a great design. I like how his face does this thing. That's cool. Man, I really like this little detail about like where he's turning his head, and like as he's turning his head, you can see where his mask tail is like dragging from behind where it usually sits. I don't know, it's just little things like that. It's like you can tell how much care and dedication went into this show. He just has such broad shoulders, which that in and of itself is not difficult to draw. What's difficult is remembering that he has broad shoulders and just committing to giving him them. I often draw him way too lean. He's supposed to be a big guy. What do I draw on? In terms of software, I'm drawing on CSP, which is Clip Studio Paint. It's I think it's the earliest version. I think it's like the first version. I wouldn't recommend getting the latest version because I think the latest version is extremely expensive. In fact, I think you have to pay a subscription for it, and that's just no. That's not worth it. It's like there are much cheaper options. This one I think you can still get this version like maybe on Amazon or something. There's still like a physical copy version of it that you can buy. In terms of the tablet that I draw on, if that's what you meant, I draw on a Huion Inspiroy. And I used to draw on a Wacom Into Us, but it was very, very old. I'd had it since I was like 14 years old. And the surface was starting to wear down and the pressure sensitivity was outdated, so I got the Huion also off of Amazon, so, or at least you can find it there. It's a pretty nice combination. It really works for me. I'm cheap. Yeah, I am too. I don't think that there is any reason anybody should be spending more money than they have to on products, especially art products. there are some insane prices that they charge for softwares and tablets nowadays, and it's just like, I don't think we need all that in order for us to find something that works. I have used Ibis Paint before, but only on my phone. And obviously it's a little hard for me to draw on my phone because the screen's so small. I use it sometimes to doodle. But yeah, Ibis Paint is pretty nice, I've found, in general, from the amount that I've used it. Okay. Oh, gotta give him his shell. I thought there was something missing. There was always something missing when I'm drawing the turtles for just a good little bit. I'm getting like the main outline of the front part of their bodies down, and then I'm like, this area feels really bare. Why is that? And then I'm like, oh yeah, they're supposed to have a shell peeking over their shoulders. Aw, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed. Thank you for coming, and I hope you have a good rest of your night. All right. Thank you. I think his shell just looks a little lopsided here. I know I don't have to get that specific with the little logo on his emblem, but I really want to, so there we go, that's more accurate. It's literally just a sketch, but let's see. I actually want to get rid of the sketch behind, or at least cut it from behind this raft. There, now I can toggle it if I need to, and it hasn't just disappeared into the ether. Alright, looks like I've got about 12 minutes left. Let's see if I can do one more little sketch. Let's see, what is a good raft to practice? First we'll move this one to the bottom so that it's out of the way. Bottom of the layer order. Let's see, you. Okay, I also need to move this one to the bottom. There we go. Okay, that's a really good one, actually. I might want to save this one for like its own thing. I might want to just draw this one by itself. I might save that one for later. That one's really good, but not for right now. I gotta pick quickly because I've only got so many minutes left. That one's really good. Man, I arranged these really weird. Ooh, that's from episode 1. Hold on, what about you? Nope, that one's too painful right now. All right, let's do this one really, really fast. Got 10 minutes. Let's go. 10 minutes to hammer this one out. Let's go. Okay. Mostly focusing on getting his expression anyway. I need to practice more expressions. That's what I really need to do. I'm just going to take my fingers off of my tablet, like my other fingers. I'm going to take my hands off of the Control-Z button. This is literally a sketch. I should not be correcting myself as I'm drawing the literal sketch. Mirror him. Always be mirroring. Notice that their eyes actually sit pretty close to the bottom of their masks. That I am going to Control Z. That was quite a big pupil. He looks like he has shadows under his eyes. And he does sometimes, but they don't always show up. Okay, let's see. Took a few liberties with his face from this reference just because this is so early on in the show, and so their designs are just a little bit more stiff and not quite as symmetrical. You could definitely see it in the eyes. Does have a little detail here underneath his mouth. Let's see. Okay, I just want to fill this out just a little bit more before I go to end the stream. It is. He does have, his sharp tooth is very funny and cute. His little snaggle tooth. I think that's what they even call it in the show. Yeah, I really like it. I love his design. Everything about him is just kind of pointy and blocky, but he's also a big teddy bear. What? Where does his shell just end there? Like, is that an animation error? Where's the rest of his shell on this side? I feel like there should be, you know, more of that going on. Well, I'm gonna add that because I can, but that's just weird. Also, that's not how far that should be going. Yes, he is the biggest brother. The one who is the biggest. And he's a big softie. He's also very he pushes his brother's limits sometimes too, but that's a big brother thing. Anyway, all right, it looks like I'm about done with this, about done with time. So thank you everybody for coming. I don't know actually how many people are watching right now. For anybody who's still here, have a good rest of your evening. Thank you for coming. This was really nice to just get a lot of drawing done and to just chill with you guys. And it was just, man, I feel like I made a lot of progress, especially with Raph. He's so difficult for me to draw, and it was really nice to just be able to copy references directly. So, yeah, thank you for coming, and everybody have a good rest of your evening and rest of your weekend.